This is Lesson 16, Part 2, and we're going to be continuing our study of dotted note values. Remember that we develop ease and genuine skill by practicing. Small daily practice efforts are what I recommend. 6 out of 7 days is ideal. Ideally doing it at the same time of day so that it becomes a habit, just like brushing your teeth. It's a non-negotiable, and you don't expect dramatic results in a day. Aim low for duration, high for frequency. We're going to spend a few minutes practicing together using our rhythm workshop book by Sally Albrecht. We are on exercise 3 of our 4/4 time section. We're going to be starting with example 3. First of all, let's just look at our 4/4 time signature. The top number tells us that there are 4 beats per measure. And the bottom 4 we can think of as a denominator of a fraction, tells us that a quarter note equals 1 beat. So we can go down here to our note and rest value pyramids and assign 1 beat to each quarter note and quarter rest, 2 beats to each half note and half rest, 4 beats to each whole note and whole rest, and half a beat to each 8th note and 8th rest. We're going to set our metronome at 85, and I'd encourage you to put this beat into your hands or your feet and either say the rhythm we see on the page or play it on a single note on your instrument. 1, 2, ready, clap. 1, 2, ready, speak. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Moving on to exercise 5 of our 4/4 time page. We're going to be doing example 5 on this page. Remember that the pulse continues through all rests and all long notes. We have half rests and half notes in addition to our quarter notes and quarter rests. We have the same time signature, so we're not going to break that down again. Remember that the half notes and half rests will be held for 2 beats each. Metronome at 85 beats per minute once again. Put the beat into your hands and say the rhythm with your mouth. 1, 2, ready, clap. 1, 2, ready, speak. Do, do. Do, do, do. Do, do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Moving on to exercise 10 in our 4/4 section. Same time signature, but now we have quarter notes, quarter rests, and 8th notes. Remember that 8th notes are our half beat notes in 4/4 time. So we're going to be saying do day for a pair of them. Let's put our metronome a little bit slower now, 70 beats per minute. And we're going to put that beat into our hands again. 1, 2, ready, clap. Example 1, 1, 2, ready, speak. Do, 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 day, do. Do, do, day, do, do. Do, day. Do, day, do, day, do, day, do, do. Do, 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 day. Do, do, day, do. Do, 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 day, do, day, do, do. Moving on to example 2, continuing with metronome at 70. 1, 2, ready, clap. 1, 2, ready, speak. Do, day, do, day, do, day, do. Do, day, do, day, do, do. Do, day, do. Do, day, do. Do, do, day, do, day, do. Do, do, day, do. do, do day, do day, do day, do day, do. We can take any of these note values we see here on the note value pyramid, and we can actually alter them by adding a dot to them. So this would be a dotted whole note. This is a dotted half note. Notice we place the dot to the right of the note head. This is a dotted quarter note, and this would be a dotted eighth note. The dot will add value to that note. How much value? Well, the dot is worth half of whatever note it's dotting. So a dotted whole note would be worth a whole note plus half of that, which is a half note. A dotted half note would be worth a half note plus half of a half note, so a quarter note. A dotted quarter note would be worth a quarter note plus an eighth note. And a dotted eighth note would be worth an eighth note plus half of that note value, so a 16th note. Let's assign a time signature to this note value pyramid. So let's say 4/4 time. So the top number tells us there are 4 beats per measure. And the bottom 4 we can think of as being as the denominator of a fraction. Tells us that a quarter note equals 1 beat. That is our beat or pulse note. So we could say a quarter note or a quarter rest will get 1 beat. Half note or half rest will get 2 beats. Whole note or whole rest will get 4 beats. And a half note or half rest will get half a beat. So now we can assign specific numbers. Instead of these actual note values, let's actually assign specific numbers. So a whole note will be worth 4 beats. So a dotted whole note will be worth 4 beats plus 2 beats for the dot, so 6 beats total. A dotted half note would be worth, 2 beats for the half note itself and 1 beat for the dot, since 1 is half of 2. So 3 beats total. The dotted quarter note would be worth 1 beat for the quarter note plus half of that note value for the dot, which is half a beat, so 1.5 beats total. And then the dotted eighth note would be worth half a beat for the eighth note plus half of a half, so a quarter of a beat for the dot. Altogether, that's 3/4 of a beat. Returning to Unit 2, which is our rhythm unit, Lesson 7, dots or dotted note values. So we're going to continue reading where we left off. Right over here, we can lengthen a note by placing a dot after it, like this. A dot after a note lengthens a note by half. So, music math. Let's just look at their examples here, starting with this time signature over here. So the 4 on the top tells us that there are 4 beats per measure. The bottom 4 tells us that a quarter note equals 1 beat. And since this is the scenario we just did, I'm not going to run through the note pyramid again. We can know then that the half note gets 2 beats. Notice that this is a half rest. It's a light hat sitting on line 3. So this is also worth 2 beats. And that's correct, right? Because we should have a total of 4 beats in this measure. 2 beats for the note, 2 beats for the rest. Next example, same time signature. Now we have a dotted half note and a quarter rest. So again, doing the math, we can know that, the half note is worth 2 beats. The dot adds half of that note value, so 1 beat. And then we get 1 beat of silence for the quarter rest. So altogether, again, that equals 4 beats. That's correct. Then we have 2/4 time. So 2/4 time tells us that there are 2 beats per measure. And that, again, bottom number tells us that a quarter note equals 1 beat. We know that a quarter note is worth 1 beat. A quarter rest is worth 1 beat. So all together, This is worth 2 beats. Same time signature. Looking at the next example, we have a quarter note, which is worth 1 beat. And then that little dot that's dotting it is worth half of a quarter note, so it adds another half a beat. And we know that this is an eighth rest, and an eighth rest is also worth half a beat. It's just half a beat of silence. Altogether, that equals 2 beats, which is perfect because we're in 2/4 time. Whole notes and eighth notes can also be dotted. However, dotted half notes and dotted quarter notes are more common. I totally agree with him that dotted whole notes aren't that frequent, especially in the music we're going to be seeing in church. However, dotted eighth notes are actually incredibly common, so I'm not sure why he's saying that. Says, so we can fill the fourth measure of the example at the top of the page with a dotted half note like this, which we already completed last lesson. Let's just go through this example and do all the math. So 3/4 time tells us that there are 3 beats per measure. And the bottom number tells us that a quarter note equals 1 beat. It is our beat or pulse note. So we can return to our little pyramid, which I just pasted down here. 1 beat will be assigned to all quarter notes and quarter rests. 2 beats for half notes and half rests. 4 beats for whole notes and whole rests, and half a beat for each eighth note and eighth rest. So let's just go through and do the math here. It should be that every measure adds up to 3 beats. We have 2 beats for a half note plus 1 beat for a quarter note. Good stuff, 3 beats. We have, again, 2 beats for a half note, 1 beat for a quarter note. So again, 3 beats. We have 1 beat plus 1 beat plus 1 beat for each of these quarter notes. So 3 beats total. And then we have a dotted half note. So the half note itself is worth 2 beats. And then the dot adds half of that note value. So 1 beat, altogether 3 beats for that single note value. Here are some other examples of music using dotted notes. We're just going to use this as an example to do the math, do the music math here. So a 4/4 time signature tells us that there are 4 beats per measure. The bottom 4 tells us, think of it as the denominator of a fraction, that a quarter note equals 1 beat. So we keep our same beat assignments. We will give 1 beat to each quarter note or quarter rest, 2 beats for each half note and half rest, 4 beats for each whole note and whole rest, and half a beat for each eighth note and eighth rest. So let's do the math here again. We have a dotted half note to start. So 2 beats for the half note plus half of that note value for the dot. So 1 plus another 1 for the quarter note. So again, adding up to 4 beats per measure. Then we have a quarter note worth 1 beat, half a beat for the eighth note, another half beat. Notice how often they're grouped like this, half a beat plus a half beat, so that our eyes more easily visualize that together they're 1 beat. Then we have a half note, which is worth 2 beats. So all together, again, this equals 4 beats total. We have another dotted half note. So we have a half note worth 2 beats. Its dot, which is worth half of the half note, so 1 beat. And then again, half a beat plus a half a beat for these beamed together eighth notes. So all together, 4 beats total. Now we have a dotted quarter note. So the quarter note gets 1 beat. That dot, though, is only worth half of a quarter note. So it's worth just half a beat. 1.5 beats total now for that dotted quarter note. Then we have a half a beat all by itself for this eighth note. And then 1 beat for the quarter note, 1 beat of silence for the quarter rest. All together, that does still equal 4 beats total.